In a world as brutal and gruesome as the Invincible universe, power is everything. From street-level heroes to planet-destroying warriors, the gap between characters can be absolutely insane. In this universe, you are either at the top of the food chain, or you're not even a part of it, and at the center of it all is one character whose growth has been nothing short of unbelievable. Today we are looking at how powerful the current Invincible really is. Mark is a phenomenal character who has grown so much over the course of the series. He has trained day in and day out with just one goal in mind: to protect Earth from the inevitable Viltrumite invasion and become invincible. Despite all the power scaling inconsistencies in the show, there is no doubt that Invincible has come a long way since season 1. From the naive kid who wanted nothing more than to be just like his father, who wanted to make the world a better place, to the last line of defense for Earth. Regardless of how ironic his name might be, Invincible is not only one of the strongest beings in his universe, but he is also one of the unluckiest characters in the entire series. He is probably stronger than 99% of the creatures in his universe, but he is also unlucky enough to run into that top 1% of characters every week. This makes it pretty difficult to determine just how far current Invincible has come from his season 1 counterpart, but we have some clear instances in the show to demonstrate just how strong current Invincible really is. Therefore, in this video, we will try to understand Mark Grayson's current power level a little bit better and break down the absolute insanity that is his progression from a teenage novice to a galactic powerhouse. Mark is a half-blooded Viltrumite. This already makes him stronger than most other characters in his universe, as Viltrumites possess immense strength, super speed, flight, and insane regenerative capabilities, allowing them to heal from almost any life-threatening injury that would normally be fatal for any living being. Viltrumites also get stronger with age, combat experience, and recovery from fatal, life-threatening injuries. At the beginning of the story, Mark is inexperienced, emotional, and completely outmatched by the threats around him. He struggles in fights, gets overwhelmed easily, and often survives only because someone stronger steps in. The times when he isn't helped usually don't end well for him. He gets his ass handed to him on multiple occasions. He gets demolished by battle beasts, struggles with the Rhiannon men, and even loses to the Flaxen army. If it weren't for the teen team, Invincible would most likely have gotten seriously injured, or worse, in his fight against Omni-Man. He is not even a match. It was less of a fight and more of a lesson that Nolan was trying to teach his son through pure, unadulterated trauma. Despite this, we see that he is more than capable of handling most of Earth's threats, even as an amateur. He is able to defeat Doc Seismic, numerous Machine Head's goons, helps Omni-Man with the Hail Mary, and uses his brain to defeat it. He even holds his own against his very own father, surviving a train to his face and holding up a falling building. By the end of the season, Mark becomes more experienced and mature in handling such threats, but the gap between him and a true warrior like Nolan is still an ocean wide. By season 2, Mark has already survived many fatal situations and is a great deal stronger than he was at the beginning of season 1. This is immediately showcased in his fight against the Mauler twins. In the past, the Maulers were a legitimate threat that required effort and teamwork to subdue. Now, Mark easily overpowers them, and Angstrom Levy has to bring multiple variants of the twins from different dimensions just to do any significant significant damage to our hero. Yeah, this serves as our first real benchmark. Mark isn't just a hero anymore, he's becoming a force of nature. This is later proven as he is able to fight various Viltrumites on the planet Thraxa. This was a turning point for Mark's psychology. On Thraxa, he realized that holding back meant death. Not just for him, but for everyone he loved. Once he stops holding back, he is able to go toe-to-toe with Thula, a high-ranking female Viltrumite who has spent centuries conquering worlds. Later, he is found to have surpassed the Immortal's power level. This is a considerable development for him, as the Immortal was the strongest superhero on Earth for centuries, second to none other than Omni-Man himself. It's like, by the end of the season, we see Mark start to break. The mental toll of his responsibilities and the constant threats to his family lead to a version of Mark that is far more dangerous. He stops holding back and murders Angstrom Levy without much difficulty, showing a glimpse of the raw, terrifying power a Viltrumite possesses when they stop worrying about the collateral damage, however, he is still weaker when compared to the elite Viltrumite enforcers. He loses his fight against Anissa and is explicitly stated by the Viltrumite Empire's own assessments to have a less than 18% chance of winning against her in a fair fight. At the beginning of Season 3, we see Invincible's training arc. This is where the show stops being subtle about his growth and starts giving us the cold, hard facts. Here, we get statistical data for just how much stronger Mark truly has become. Cecil and Donald explain the numbers, and the trajectory is vertical. Mark is pushing himself to the absolute limit, lifting weights that would crush cities and flying at speeds that tear the atmosphere. At this point in the story, he is easily the strongest superhero on the planet, and it's not even close. Like, he really doesn't lose many fights this season, even in the Invincible War, where evil versions of Mark from across the multiverse descend upon Earth. We find out that Invincible from the main timeline was much stronger than most other variants. This is a crucial detail. Mark has a different upbringing, a different moral compass, and most importantly, a different drive to protect. He is even able to take down many Reaniman with single blows. This is significant because in Season 1, even Omni-Man was struggling against these cybernetic brutes when they attacked in groups. Mark is now operating at a level that rivals his father's peak performance on Earth. However, the highlight of the season and the fight that proves his strength is definitely his battle against Conquest. Conquest is a name that strikes fear into the hearts of entire civilizations. He is stated to be supposedly stronger than even Omni-Man. He is the oldest Viltrumite and the strongest Viltrumite, falling behind only Grand Regent Thrag himself. He is the physical embodiment of the Viltrumite Empire's cruelty and power. Mark is able to hold his own in this fight for a bit, before Conquest stops holding back. Even though it is made clear that Conquest was toying with him for most of the fight, treating the battle like a game or a workout, it is also impressive for Invincible to be able to hold his own against the second strongest Viltrumite in existence. This fight is a bloody, visceral testament to Mark's durability. He takes hits that would vaporize any other hero. By the end of the fight, Mark is able to get the edge even before Eve blasts off his skin in a moment of desperate power. Mark is able to take the opportunity and headbutts Conquest to death, or so he thinks. This moment showed the world that Mark Grayson was more than just some powerful kid. He was a killer of gods. Even though we don't know exactly how much Mark has trained between seasons 3 and 4, we see that he goes out to help any way he can every single day. The routine of being a hero has become his life. He constantly fights and get stronger through the Viltrumite trait of reactive adaptation, but more importantly, Mark now has no issues with killing if he deems it necessary. The no-kill rule that most Earth heroes follow has been stripped away by the reality of the threats he faces. He has also made it clear that he will not be holding back if someone endangers his family or loved ones. This shift in mindset is what makes him exponentially stronger than he was in the last season. A Viltrumite with a killer instinct is a different animal entirely. We see that he doesn't struggle in the slightest against most of his enemies. You know, the Sequids, who were a lot of trouble to the Guardians and Invincible in Season 2, are not even a match for Mark in this current season, despite their overwhelming numbers. He flies through them like they're made of paper. Mr. Liu, who almost killed him in the previous season with his dragon form, is ragdolled by him in episode 3. Mark doesn't even look like he's trying. Even in the depths of hell, he is able to deal with threats without breaking a single sweat. By now, Mark is definitely a great deal stronger than most average Viltrumite soldiers, and is even able to outclass some high-ranking ones. In Season 4, Episode 5, we see Mark not even struggling against Lucan. If you remember back to the beginning of the series or the Thraxa arc, Lucan was a high-ranking Viltrumite who was not only able to beat Mark using nothing more than a single finger, but was also able to break Nolan's spine in a display of terrifying strength. This shows the audience just how far Mark has come in the last few seasons in this fight. He does far better than anyone there. He even manages to outperform Alan the Alien, whose own power has been boosted to insane levels. The only one who was close to his level was Omni-Man, who is definitely one of the strongest Viltrumites. More importantly, we see Invincible killing Conquest for good. In their rematch, Mark stops the airflow to Conquest's brain, a tactic that requires immense strength and precision. This leaves Conquest wide open for attack, which the veteran warrior takes advantage of by punching a literal hole through Mark's. Despite having his guts hanging out of his body like spaghetti and suffering injuries that would end any other life form, Mark never lets go. His will, determination, and raw Viltrumite strength allow him to be the second strongest warrior in the entire universe. Even after all this, his healing factor is so advanced that he is able to recover from it rather quickly. Not even a day after he gains consciousness, he goes back to war, where he expertly handles Anissa, the very person who once had an 82% chance of beating him, and destroys a Viltrumite spacecraft with no trouble alongside Oliver. To put this into perspective, we need to look at what Mark is actually doing. He is flying through vacuum-hardened hulls of ships that are designed to travel between stars. He is taking hits from beings who can crack the crust of a planet. He is moving so fast that human eyes can't even register his presence until the sonic boom hits them. The level of power we are talking about here is astronomical. When the Viltrumite Empire looks at Earth now, they don't just see a rogue colony, they see a world protected by a being who has killed their greatest champion. Mark's strength is also supplemented by his unique biology. Being half human might have seemed like a weakness initially, but as we've seen, human emotions and the human drive to survive often provide a spark that pure-blooded Viltrumites lack. This emotional core allows Mark to push past his physical limits in ways that seasoned warriors like Lucan or Thula cannot comprehend. Alright, when Mark is fighting for Eve, for his mother, or for his daughter, his power ceiling effectively disappears. It is also important to consider the environmental feats Mark has achieved recently. We have seen him divert asteroids, stabilize tectonic plates, and navigate the core of stars. These aren't just combat feats, they are demonstrations of raw physical output that put him in the top tier of all comic book characters, not just those in his own universe. His durability has reached a point where he can survive the vacuum of space for extended periods and withstand temperatures that would melt titanium. His speed has scaled to the point where he can cross the solar system in a matter of minutes, a feat that requires him to be moving at a significant fraction of the speed of light. All of this points to a character who is rapidly approaching his peak, yet the scary part is that he isn't even there yet. Viltrumites live for thousands of years and their power continues to grow as they age. Mark is barely 20. Imagine what he will be like in 100 years or 1,000. But back to the current Invincible. The comparison between Mark and his father, Nolan, is also evolving. While Nolan has centuries of combat experience and a body hardened by 1,000 wars, Mark has the potential to surpass him because of his adaptability. Nolan was raised in a rigid system that valued strength above all else, but Mark was raised with the complexity of human life. This gives him a tactical edge and a willingness to fight dirty or use unconventional methods that a traditional Viltrumite might find beneath them. We see this in how he dealt with conquest, using suffocation and environmental leverage rather than just trying to punch harder. Yeah, this intelligence combined with his skyrocketing physical stats makes him the most dangerous being in the galaxy. Even Thrag, the Grand Regent, has started to take notice. You don't notice someone unless they are a threat to your throne, and Mark Grayson is becoming exactly that. There are still a few episodes left in the season which will properly showcase his strength as the war reaches its climax. However, it is pretty clear that he is no joke. The days of Mark getting beaten into a pulp by every villain of the week are over. Now, the villains are the ones who should be afraid. When Mark arrives on a battlefield, the atmosphere changes. There is a weight to his presence that wasn't there in Season 1. He carries himself with the confidence of a man who knows he can end a fight in a microsecond if he chooses to. This evolution is one of the most satisfying parts of this series. We have watched him bleed, cry, and fail, which makes his current dominance feel earned. It wasn't a cheap power-up or a magical transformation. It was the result of innumerable hours of training, dozens of near-death experiences, and a sheer refusal to stay down. Mark has gotten a lot stronger than earlier, and Viltrumites grow stronger with age. Mark is still relatively young, only in his early 20s, and already outclasses most of the population. He's far from his peak and still has a long way to go before he gets as strong as he physically can. That being said, the current Invincible is extremely strong. While he may not be as strong as Omni-Man or Thrag yet, he is definitely capable of standing with them now. He has gone from the boy who couldn't throw a punch to the man who can stop a planet. He is the bridge between two worlds, the protector of the weak and the nightmare of the strong. If Season 1 was about Mark finding his powers and Season 2 was about him finding his resolve, then Season 4 is about him realizing his destiny. He is the one who stands when everyone else falls, the one who fights when all hope is lost. He is Mark Grayson, and as the title of the show suggests, he is starting to seem truly invincible. Looking forward, the power scaling is only going to get more intense. As the Viltrumite War expands across the stars, Mark will be forced to face enemies even more terrifying than Conquest. But if history has shown us anything, it's that betting against Mark Grayson is a losing game. He will be broken, bloodied, and pushed to the brink of insanity, but he will always come back stronger. That is the essence of a Viltrumite, and it is the essence of Mark. His current power level is just a pit stop on the road to becoming the most powerful being in existence. Whether he is fighting in the streets of New York, the deserts of Thraxa, or the cold void of space, Mark Grayson has proven that he belongs at the top of the food chain. The world better get used to it because Invincible is here to stay, and he's only getting started. The growth we have seen is just the tip of the iceberg, and as the series progresses, the legend of Invincible will only grow, cementing his place as one of the greatest powerhouses in modern fiction. He has earned his name, not through invulnerability, but through the strength of will to keep fighting until he wins. That is the true power of Mark Grayson. To understand the magnitude of this journey, we have to revisit the darker moments of Season 1. Remember the Flaxen dimension? Mark was essentially a novice, yet but he spent what felt like weeks fighting in a world where time moved differently. This was his first real exposure to the concept of a long-term war. In the beginning, he was just a kid in a spandex suit, but every broken bone and every drop of blood he spilled on that alien soil was a brick in the foundation of the powerhouse he would become. When we compare that version of Mark, the one who was winded by a few flaxen tanks, to the current version who can dismantle entire fleets, the difference is staggering. It's like comparing a candle to a supernova. The scale of the threats has changed, but his heart has remained the same, only it's been hardened by the fires of combat. We also have to talk about the physical mechanics of his strength. Viltrumite physiology is unique because it isn't just about muscle mass, it's about atomic density. As Mark trains, his cellular structure literally becomes more compact and resilient. When Cecil put him in that room with the specialized training equipment, he was recalibrating his very existence. Every time he flies through a building or takes a punch from a character like Battle Beast, his body adapts. This is why his recovery times have shortened so dramatically. In Season 1, a fight with the Rhiannomen would leave him hospitalized for days. Now, he can take a hit from Thrag and live to tell the tale. This level of biological efficiency is what sets him apart from even the most powerful human heroes. He is built for war on a planetary scale, but it's not just about the body, it's about the mind. Mark's psychological evolution is perhaps even more impressive than his physical one. In the beginning, he was paralyzed by the idea of causing harm. He wanted to save everyone and hurt no one. But the universe showed him that such a path is a luxury that heroes in his world cannot afford. His encounter with Angstrom Levy was the final nail in the coffin of his innocence. When he realized that some threats cannot be talked down or imprisoned, he made the difficult choice to become the monster that hunts other monsters. This mental fortitude is what allows him to face conquest without flinching. He knows the cost of failure, and he is willing to pay any price to ensure Earth's survival. This warrior's mindset is a multiplier for his physical power. A punch from someone who is hesitant is nothing compared to a punch from someone who is determined to end the fight by any means necessary. If we look at his recent interactions with Omni-Man, we see a shift in the dynamic. It's no longer a master and apprentice relationship, it's a partnership between two equals. Nolan recognizes that Mark has reached a level that even he didn't achieve at that age. When they fight together against the Viltrumite enforcers, they move in a perfect lethal synchronicity. Mark isn't just following Nolan's lead anymore, he is making his own tactical decisions and executing them with brutal efficiency. This transition from son to peer is the ultimate validation of his power level. If the man who destroyed the Guardians of the Globe thinks you're ready for a galactic war, then you are definitely one of the strongest beings alive. The ripple effects of Mark's power are felt across the entire universe. Civilizations that once viewed Earth as an easy target now hesitate. The coalition of planets, led by Alan the Alien, sees Mark as their greatest asset. He is a symbol of hope for some and a symbol of terror for others. This political weight is a form of power in itself. When Mark enters a room, kings and generals listen. He has become a pillar of the galactic community, not because he was born into it, but because he seized it through sheer force of will. The weight of the world is on his shoulders, but for the first time, he actually has the strength to carry it without stumbling. Even his relationship with Eve has been transformed by his power. They are a power couple in the truest sense of the word. Eve's ability to manipulate matter at the molecular level combined with Mark's unstoppable physical force makes them a duo that even the Viltrumite Empire should fear. They have learned to combine their powers in ways that maximize their impact on the battlefield. Whether it's Eve creating shields for Mark to ram through, or Mark providing the distraction for Eve to unleash a massive energy blast. They are a testament to the idea that power is best used in concert with those you trust. This synergy is another reason why Mark is currently at the top of his game. He isn't fighting alone. Yeah, he is part of a unit that is greater than the sum of its parts. As we look toward the future of the series, the question becomes how he will use this now incomprehensible strength when he finally faces Thrag again. The Grand Regent is a being of such immense power that even the strongest Viltrumites bow before him. To defeat Thrag, Mark will need to reach a level of power that we haven't even glimpsed yet. He will need to push past the limits of his biology and tap into something deeper. But based on everything we've seen so far, from the train ride in Season 1 to the execution of Conquest in Season 4, there is every reason to believe that Mark Grayson will meet that challenge. He has spent his entire life being told what he can and cannot do, and every time he has proven the doubters wrong. The Invincible universe is a place where hope is often crushed by the heel of a boot. It's a place where the good guys don't always win, and where the cost of victory is often too high to measure. But in that darkness, Mark Grayson is a light. He is a reminder that even in a brutal world, growth is possible, that a naive kid can become a guardian of the galaxy. That strength isn't just about how hard you can hit, but about how many times you can get back up. Current Invincible is a masterpiece of character development and power scaling. He is a warrior, a hero, and a king in the making. And as he prepares for the final battles of the Viltrumite War, one thing is certain: he will be ready, because at the end of the day, Mark is fighting for his mother, for his brother, for Eve, and their soon-to-be-born child, and for every person on Earth who can't fight for themselves. That purpose is the fuel that drives him. It's why he can survive a hole in his chest and still keep fighting. It's why he can lose everything and still find the strength to stand. He is the heart of this universe, and as long as that heart beats, Earth has a chance. So, as we wait for the next chapter in his story, let's take a moment to appreciate the journey. From a kid trying to fly in his backyard to a warrior tearing through the stars and pushing Thrag back. Mark Grayson is officially invincible. Every time Mark steps up, he isn't just proving his strength to the audience, he's proving it to himself. The insecurities of the first season are gone. The doubt that clouded his mind in the second season has been replaced by a cold, hard clarity. He knows who he is, he knows what he is, and he knows what he has to do. This self-actualization is the final piece of the puzzle. A hero who knows their worth is twice as dangerous as one who doesn't. Mark has fully embraced his Viltrumite heritage without losing his human soul, and that balance is his greatest weapon. It allows him to be merciful when he can and lethal when he must. It's clear that the Invincible title isn't a joke or a misnomer. It's a mission statement. It's a promise that no matter how hard the universe hits him, he will always hit back harder. He has become the gold standard for power in his universe, a being whose potential is limited only by his imagination and his will. Whether you're a fan of the show, the comics, or both, there's no denying that watching Mark's ascent has been one of the most thrilling rides in modern media. He was the ultimate underdog who became the ultimate powerhouse, and the galaxy will never be the same. Mark Grayson has arrived, and he is everything we hoped he would be and more. If you made it this far, a like would really be appreciated, and if you enjoyed this video, there are plenty more for you to check out. Thank you so much for watching.